In your experience of being in a ministry that builds families, what are the key struggles of Christian couples to be affectionate and loving to one another? And what would you suggest for couples who are struggling to display their love to their partners?
I would think that one of the challenges that today we face is our individualism. The couples who are thinking on two parallel tracks. We don't have one mindset when it comes to issues in our marriage or thoughts, the purposes for our marriage. For example, I feel if I am thinking in a particular way, then my thought processes can become a hindrance to us accomplishing our purpose together. So I would really feel that sometimes just my individual thinking, if I may use another word, selfishness within my marriage. For example, if I say, okay, I have all of these tasks I have to finish. As a wife, I have to cook, clean, or maybe shop, get all the groceries. So that's my individualistic way of thinking, where I would think that this is the box of things I have to finish. So I will only prioritize what I want to finish. There is no space I give to the other person, so that sometimes we need to give that space. There needs to be some flexibility in that. It's not about the task being finished. It's about how are we living together and making our living an enjoyable experience. So I would say selfishness comes in the way of this oneness that is built in our marriage, and lack of priority, not prioritizing. Like, it's easy for us to just do our own things, go to our own jobs, parent our children separately. It's easy because it's only about me. You know what the harder thing to do is? To do it together. And I would say God is challenging us in marriage to break that individual way of thinking. He wants us to put our ideas together. He wants us to work together. He wants that team to be engaged in every aspect of home life. Rather than me doing it individually. It's very easy to be individual in the marriage relationship. But does that fulfill the God-given purpose? I really doubt. So I would say, individualism, lack of prioritizing your spouse or giving intentional time to them, because I can have a list of things that I think I need to finish. But am I prioritizing my spouse? Do I give it adequate time to them? Or sometimes people find it hard to express, and therefore they just kind of close in and live their own little life within the marriage. That also can become, something that is not healthy in a marriage relationship. So I would say if we grow up in homes that are not expressive, then we need to develop the skill to express, because marriage is about expression in so many different forms. And so I would really say that, those are some things that I would think come in the way of us loving one another, come in the way of us really fulfilling that God-given, relational role of being that helpmeet to my partner, so that ultimately we are one, right? So that beauty of that oneness, I feel, comes out when all of these individual agendas are really put aside. And then together we build this beautiful, family that God intended.
Yeah, I also feel, culturally we are not people who like to express, especially men. We find it very tough to express. And I think, inability to express our love rightly. Now, that's a big issue I find in many, many marriages. We really don't know how to express. And so we are used to a certain way of, talking, or we imitate a lot from our own parents. How my daddy did, I want to do it. Or how my mom did, the spouse wants to do it. So I think we really need to learn how to express. And, the Gary Chapman's book on 5 love languages, he says, not everybody, can accept love in the same way. Each one has their own love language. So he says, for some it is words. You have to use words. Only then they feel that, they feel loved. Or some people, it is touch. Or some people it is service. And for some people it's gifts. So each one, it's different. I still remember in one of the conference, we kind of encouraged during the season of Valentine's, we encouraged the husbands to buy a small gift and give to the wife. And this was a huge conference. So it was all very minimum price, 50 rupees, 100 rupees gift, So we asked them to pick one gift and give it to the wife. And next morning in that conference of almost 160 couples attending, I was asking, how was last night, the candlelight evening and all that? Out of that big crowd, this lady, got up with the gift that she got last night. And she showed this gift and she said, Pastor, 25 years married, first gift.
Wow.
She was actually not putting her husband down. She was crying. And she was saying, I enjoyed it, sir. I enjoyed it so much. So the point is, it's that gift that made a difference. And the point is, we sometimes don't know how to express it. So I think, expressing appropriately makes a lot of difference. And I think that we need to encourage and we need to learn. If you don't know, let's learn it. But do it appropriately so that people are able to express the affection. Sometimes in Indian culture, we say, I have everything in my heart. I don't need to tell. Why don't we do that with God? You have everything in your heart. But why do you come to church and say, I love you, Lord. I praise you, Lord. God who understands my thought, if he needs that expression out loud, I think my spouse who doesn't really know my thought need that expression. And I have to say it in order to make her understand that I really love her. There's no telepathy otherwise. So I would say expression is a big, big challenge, and for couples to, show their affection.
Yeah, sometimes I think even our personality types, some of us are very introverted, and so expression doesn't come very easily for us. Sometimes that becomes a kind of a challenge to love your partner. So I would say appropriately then, learn the skill of what works in your relationship. Maybe your partner just needs a touch or ruffling of their hair or just a hand holding, or something that will express. It does not have to be those great exhibitions of love that we probably see that are, today advertised. We're saying those simple things because they go a long way to tell them that I care, I love. Right. I'm here for you, kind of an expression. So whatever it is appropriate in your marriage, because each marriage is so different. And so I would say that expressing love in your marriage is critical, but it doesn't have to be the same way somebody else does it. You don't need to model after somebody.